Gentlemen, welcome back. You're back with MGTOW Money. I'm living my dreams. I hope you are as well. Today's topic is going to be 18-year-olds. Yes, young men, probably applies to many of you. As a blueprint, some ideas that I've got for the young man that's just starting out, that's not been tainted, as well as not been roughed up by life yet, as well as most importantly doesn't have all those obligations. Before we get to that though, in case you're new here, this of course is MGTOW Money. This is the second wave of MGTOW. This is about actionable, practical ideas on how you can make and spend money and invest more optimally. I encourage you, if you are new here, or even if you've been around for a while, listen to the first 8 videos that I did. The very first 8 videos that I did. And by the way, I have been setting up some playlists. There was several requests for playlists. Yes, I am in the process of doing that. If you'll look on the homepage or whatever you want to call it, the playlists are being in the process of setup. So if you'll look at that playlist, there's a section with those first 8 videos that I would encourage you to listen to. Let's roll on to today's topic. 18-year-olds, a blueprint for those young men just starting out. You know, in spite of what some 18-year-olds think, a man, whether he's 45, 55, 65, actually can relate very, very well to you. They just happen to be farther down the road than you, but frankly, they can probably remember vividly when they were 16, 17, 18, 19, etc. And I speak from experience about that as well as speaking to other men. We've all been there, gentlemen. We've all chased women. We've all stayed out till 6, 7 in the morning. I've gotten blind drunk. I've run in with the police. Yes, at one time or another, I was involved in illegal substances, etc. So, needless to say, I've done all those things. That doesn't mean that it was right. It doesn't mean that it was wrong. It is what it is, to use a cliche. But this is all about money. And specifically, we're going to talk about the things that are directly under your control. These things are 100% under your control so you can have a rich life. Now, I emphasize a rich life. These things will make the probability of you achieving a rich life, just beyond just financially rich, but just a great life, much more probable. I can't offer any guarantees. I will not offer any guarantees. You'll hear me say this repeatedly in video after video. Ignore guarantees that people offer you. There's only 2 guarantees, gentlemen. The guarantees are, number 1, you're going to die at some point, and number 2, you got to pay your taxes. That's it. Everything else is a matter of probabilities. Everything else is on a scale of probabilities. I'm going to define 4 no's, 4 things that you, the young man, do not want in your life. Or at least, if you choose to have them in your life, I would highly encourage you, put them off, procrastinate on them, delay as long as you possibly can. All right, so let's quickly run through these. The 4 no's that you want in your life. Number 1, you do not want a wife. You do not want to get married. I can't be any more clear than that. You listen to all the other MGTOW videos. Ignore this one. Enough has already been said about that. Number 2, correspondingly, you don't want children, or at least not at a young age. I personally don't have children. I think I live a great life. You do not have to have children to have a great life. Contrary to what some people might say, contrary to what you might hear from society, from your family, friends, etc., you do not have to have children, in particular as a man, to have a fantastic, wonderful life. Number 3, this is critical. Do not, or at least try not to, go to the nth degree not to, do not take on any debt if you can possibly avoid it. Yes, I know some of you, and in particular, inevitably, this is going to generate some comments about, well, I need to have debt to buy a house. I need to have debt to buy a car. I get it. Under some circumstances, if you have no other way of avoiding it, of course, I accept that. But I'm just saying, delay. Furthermore, I would keep it down to an absolute bare minimum. In other words, avoid things like zero interest loans. Avoid things like credit cards, etc. The point is, you do not want to have any debts. You want to be like Superman relative to kryptonite and stay away from it. I've did entire videos about debts. I did an entire video about student debt. And student debt, by the way, is incredible to me. 1.4 trillion with a T debt, student debt, and still rising in the United States. Gentlemen, if there's one debt you should not take on, do not take on student debt. There are always choices. There is always community college. You can always work. There are plenty of state schools. There's even schools where you can actually go for free. I'm not talking about with scholarships and that type of thing, but I'll just throw out one that I'm aware of. School of the Ozarks in Missouri, for example. It's sort of you work and that sort of pays your tuition. And I'm just using that example. There are numerous other schools that are available to as well. The bottom line is, do not take on any debt to go to college. Number 4, the fourth no that you do not want. And let me be clear about this. I have a lot of sympathy for guys who are going to disagree, but hear me out. Do not take on any pets. Let me be specific. For many, many years, I was a pet owner. I grew up with pets. I love dogs, for example. I really do. I was in particular really into a specific breed of dog for many years. However, dogs are becoming far too expensive today, in particular with the veterinarian industry and the pet industry. And it's just not worth it, unfortunately, anymore. But I'm going to get to a bigger reason why you want to avoid all these 4 no's right now. Gentlemen, if you want to increase the probability of achieving that rich life, which I know that you want, a life with lots of choices and lots of options and not feeling like you're in a box and not feeling like you're tied down, you need to make sure you've got freedom. And that means you do not want to take on these types of obligations. So let's quickly summarize. You're going to avoid obligations to a woman, a la a wife. You're not going to contractually sign, because if you get married, gentlemen, you are signing a legal contract. Don't be naive. You are signing a legal contract that can be held against you. Correspondingly, with children will become an minimum 18-year lifelong financial obligation. Number 3, debts can absolutely destroy your life. They're a cancer. They're insidious. They can trap you in a job you hate. I can't be any more specific than that. The horror stories go on and on regarding staying out of debt. Number 4, no pets. Sorry, I know. Sometimes I even think about, maybe I should get a dog. No, it comes back to you want your freedom. You want to prolong for as long into the future, your 30s, your 40s, or at least until you become financially independent. You want to delay getting into any significant financial, emotional obligations of any sort. So again, quickly summarize here. No wife, no kids, no debts, no pets. Gentlemen, as always, thank you. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope that was informative, and most importantly, that you learned something and that you'll move forward with it. Now, do me a small favor if you haven't already. Hit the subscribe button now. Share this video on forums. Let friends know about this channel. And as always, John Galt out.